she has got fame on top of fame. Lilith is extremely, extremely well known. She comes from way back in the Akkadian civilization. Her name translates as being like night spirit, and it was Sumerians who talked about those wind spirits early. So she's mentioned alongside the Hebrew text, but what she literally means is night or wind or airborne entity, right? That's kind of where she is or who she is. Now, in early Mesopotamian contact, before the Jewish folklores, they were representing Lilith. She appeared in the Sumerian incantation text, the Babylonian demon list, and throughout Akkadian mythology. And these early spirits were associated with the desert, they were associated with illness, and erotic dreams, which I never thought, and then linked to infant mortality. So she's not just attached to someone for no reason. Like, she's not Adam's first wife. That comes later. She has a whole history before that comes about. And then, of course, after that whole thing burns and crashes, she has a whole nother mythology that will follow her for years later. So she is the queen of the night, and she becomes part of this group of women who winged women, bird talents, had an owl beside her, standing on tigers. So she was all that. Scholars debate whether this is Lilith, Ishtar, or Erishkigal. So they argue, but because they all have kind of a same kind of mode of moving like an underworld darkness, I think that it's her 100%. Now, when we get into like Jewish texts, this is where she's really strong because she has an old history, especially the alphabet of Ben Sira, which is medieval period. And this is where she actually becomes Adam's wife, where she was created from the same earth as Adam, but she refused to lie beneath him. Yeah, well, however you like it. She wanted equality, and she spoke the name of God, like the true name, and had to flee Eden. So this is massive in starting to tell who she is. And after that, man, we really get a sense of her evolution. She mates with demons at some point. She becomes a mother of demon offspring. She returns at night to attack infants. She seduces men in the dreams. She drains vitality. So she's going to mess you up good 100% of the time. Now, symbolically, she refuses to be a sexual subordinate. That alone makes her destabilizing at that period of time. She will not submit as a woman. She will not. She claims equality, and she leaves male order behind. She's able to go out into the world and create her own staple in the world in a lot of ways. Now, the infant death. Now, in this society at this time, man, infant deaths were through the roof. So this was a no-germ society. They had no neonatal care or anything like that. No antibiotics. So babies just would die suddenly. You know how babies are. Instead of random tragedy, they would just call an agency. Like, they just lost agency. Something that would come back, right? So they're able to kind of do all that. And another thing about Lilith, something that she also does is the way she can attack you. Like, she'll go after your dreams. So she is linked to, literally, nocturnal emissions, right? Every young boy has been through that. But she's linked to sexual dreams, as well as sleep paralysis. This is when it gets scary. And any incubus, succubus mythology is right there. So male sexual release during sleep makes her like a dream visitor, because that's what she's really after. So she is performing desired sexual acts without explicit permission, right? It's me too, right? We're in the consent era. So Lilith doesn't fly well in the consent era. She's also associated, like the others, with desolate places, abandoned ruins. Why you're meeting some chicken in abandoned ruins, I don't know. But also dry wilderness. Unlike the other two, she belongs to like wet, dry, and then ruins. So she's not associated with fertility in the way that he is. So you wouldn't see a response back that same way. Now, on a lot of levels, again, she's not the nurturing mother. She's not the romantic muse. She's sexual force without apology. She's like, if you want it or not, too bad. She's anger without any kind of containment and independence without negotiation. She's confrontational with males in terms of rejection, but also equality. And that's how we really have to look at her. And this is what her role. She's known throughout so many texts. Rabbinic texts expand her mythology. The Kabbalistic texts interpret her cosmologically, right? And she becomes associated with Shamael. She becomes the queen of the demons in some traditions. So she's all of the world as a female icon, as a symbol of autonomy, as the archetype of boundary refusal, that she's like, I'm not letting you get in here. We know who she's associated with, like Ishtar, Erishkigal, Hecate, any succubi traditions. That's where she's really going to land the hardest when you start really talking about what categories in. She's about sovereignty at night, where equality stands for authority. Desire does not equate obedience, right? Just because I want you doesn't mean I'm about to bow down. So her independence is outside this sanctified structure. And that's ultimately why we've always had an odds for Lilith, one of the most profound characters in any archetype. So I think she was a great headliner. I hope you guys learned some more as we talked about two new or relatively new deities, ones that I had not discussed previously, coming from some different cultures. So I hope that worked. You got introduced to La Pistola, also Pointianak as well. So giving us some cultural reach. And I hope you had a good time understanding or going through this breakdown with me. So I'm going to check it off for now, grab a little lunch. I'll be back later as I talk about the archetypes or the builders in history, the guys who make all the fun stuff, like all the weapons. It's something a little serious so we can have some fun later on. So I'll be back. As always, hit that like and subscribe. I definitely appreciate you stopping in and spending a little time with Nine Chronicles. Definitely come back as we check out, break down more mythology. I'm going to dip on the TikTok audience. Thank you for stopping in, by the way. Now it's just